So Cuphead has a lot of weapons, which can make it very confusing for new players to know what weapons are good and what weapons are bad. So in this video, I decided to sit down and rank all the weapons from worst to best. Please keep in mind that the video is just my opinion and just don't be mad about it. So in last place, I think that everyone's going to agree, but the twist up. The reason I'm putting the twist up here isn't because of its low damage, because it does 2.33 damage per shot, which isn't that bad, but the fact that you just can't use it anywhere. This shot just sucks. It has no usable instances where I could say, yeah, I would use the twist up there. It's only good on bosses where the boss is directly above you, because the twist up, hence the name, just goes directly up and it's so hard to hit. It shoots 3 bullets at a time, and if all of them hit, it will deal 6.99 damage, but it's just not enough to suffer out using this terrible shot. Now, in 8th place, I decided to put the Chaser, and it's not for what you think. I honestly like the Chaser as a shot. I think that it's very good for the new player who just wants to focus on dodging. It's useful and deals 2.85 damage per shot, making it the 3rd lowest damage dealing weapon. I just really don't like about it is its terrible EX. When you use the EX, it just summons some green bullets that bounce around you that work as a little bit of defense. If you get hit, the boss will get hit, but they just deal almost no damage. That it's just not useful. The low damage just never made up for the homing for me, and I think that's easily outshined by the crack shot and even some other shots later that we talk about. The convert shot is going to go in 7th place. Now, I believe that this is a good weapon. I feel wrong putting it in 7th place, but I think that compared to the other weapons, it really is where it belongs. The way the convert shot works is that it shoots 3 beams, one up diagonally, down diagonally, and straight, and each beam deals 2.67 damage per shot, which is low, but when you hold down your lock button and they all start to come together, it will deal 8.01 damage per shot, which is also still not amazing, but when you look at its fire rate and precision, it's easily belongs in the 7th place. In 6th spot, I decided to put the Spreadshot, which it might be a little bit controversial because I know that there was a lot of Spreadshot fanboys out there, but I'm just not one of them. It's not often my go-to weapon for a lot of bosses with its 1.24 damage per shot. Yeah, that's very low, but when you look at its fast fire rate and the amount of projectiles that it shoots, that kind of cancels out pretty quickly. The reason I don't like this is because it's designed for close range. You have to be right up close and personal with the boss, and I just don't think that's very good, and I find myself getting hit a lot more than I would like to whenever I do end up using the Spreadshot, and for that reason, I think that does belong in 4th place. In the 5th slot, I decided to place the Peashooter. And now, I do think it's kind of funny that the weapon that you get for free at the start of the game is in the perfect middle of the list, but I also think it belongs there. The Peashooter does 4 damage per shot, which is okay, and has fast fire rate. It shoots straight and is very accurate and usable on a lot of bosses. It is an amazing early game long range weapon that is outshined by some other weapons later on, but is definitely better than the earlier weapons, and for those reasons, I'm going to put it right in 5th place. Now, in 4th place, I have an interesting weapon, because it's not a weapon that I would have put on my 4th place before the DLC. I actually would give this weapon the 2nd or even 1st slot, but my number 4 weapon is the Lobber. This is such an incredible shot. It deals 11.66 damage per shot, which is shockingly good range, even though it shoots down, as the opposite of the twist up, which shoots up, but the Lobber shoots straight down, and melts many bosses, and the best example I can think of is on Grim Matchstick. When you're fighting Grim Matchstick, I believe that the Lobber is the only shot that you should be using. It is insanely strong with an amazing EX that deals so much damage, and I just truly believe that's one of the best shots, putting it in the 4th slot. Coming in 3rd place, we have a shot that I actually wouldn't have put in 3rd place up to about 2 months ago, the Charge Shot. This shot is shockingly good, and I never really understood that until I met Sir Pilky, who swears by the Charge Shot, and I always thought he was a bit weird for that until I finally gave it a chance. The way that the Charge Shot works is, hence the name, you have to charge it up. You hold down your trigger for a second and then release to shoot your 46 damage dealing bullet, which is crazy strong. This weapon is only good when it's charged up, and I would not recommend using the uncharged version in any way, but I think that this weapon is insanely good on any boss. But I don't think it's as good for the average player. I think that you need to have a fair amount of time in the game and feel strong about it before you use the Charge Shot, because it is a tricky weapon to use and you have to focus on precision over dodging, so you just need the muscle memory to avoid bosses. In the silver medal slot, I think that almost everyone can agree with this, but the Crack Shot is definitely the 2nd best weapon in the entirety of Cuphead, and honestly, for good reason. The way that the Crack Shot works is that it shoots in 2 different ways. It shoots its first way in the uncracked version, which is just a red diamond, that if that hits the boss, it will deal 18 damage. Or sorry, 30 damage. But if it cracks and homes onto the boss, it will deal 18 damage, which that 12 damage difference might seem like a lot, but it's really not when you look at the fire rate and consistency that you're going to be hitting the boss. Any close range boss, this gun's great for. Any long range boss, it's also great for. This is such a versatile weapon that I think that you could bring into any boss and it will always hold its own and do good. I think that's easily the best weapon to come out of the DLC and outshines all former weapons on this list. In first place, I can see this being a bit of a controversial pick, but I can see it being an understandable pick. I think that a lot of people have their own idea of what makes a Cuphead weapon good or bad, but for me, I personally think that the best weapon in the entirety of Cuphead is easily the Roundabout. This shot is just so amazing and does so good with 8.5 damage per shot, which you might think is on the low side, but it's just not with its crazy fire rate and the way it works. If you're facing a direction, it shoots a little bit in that direction and then shoots right back around the other way to constantly send projectiles across the screen. And if you're focusing on dodging up, down, left, right, you're going to be constantly sending projectiles back and forth that are always going to be hitting the boss, and it will end up melting any boss that you bring it into. With an amazing EX as well that you send out, and then if you start avoiding the EX, it'll do even more damage to the boss if you start jumping around just to avoid it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to release content again. I've been very busy. I just started a new job. I got back from vacation. I'm hoping that regular uploads will be returning soon. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.